Welcome to Realtor Gary Kelly's podcast on all things real estate.
Hi, this is Gary Kelly. We're here at La La Java with Brad. The music's making me crazy. Avergon from Envision Bank. You know, every time we do one of these, I get teased. Is it real? Well, yeah, the music. And when they start grinding things, it's all good. What we wanted to talk about today was things around transitions to a better place, a better life for people. And one of the things is first-time home buyers. Brad, what advice do you give first-time home buyers when they're out in their search?
Well, you know, the most important thing when a first-time home buyer is looking is to find out what are they going to be comfortable affording. You know, there's a lot of different ways to look at that. Some people say, well, what can I afford? What will the bank qualify me for? But at the end of the day, it's the first-time home buyers that are going to be the ones, left paying the mortgage. And sometimes that can be a big transition between rental income and.
I actually tell people, the bank will approve you for more than you should ever spend.
Right.
Okay, and they're like, really? Yeah. And so you need to not only know what the bank says, but you also have to look at your own budget and see what you're comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
Absolutely. And what's more is, you know, I kind of have a joke that I tell my first-time home buyers is I never like to leave them eating macaroni and cheese out of a box after the closing. So it's not only important what you can afford, but how much of your cash you're going to use up, how much you're going to have in reserves afterwards, because once you own a home, you're responsible for it. So if the water heater goes, or if the car needs some maintenance or something like that, you need to have some cash reserves here. So it's a combination of looking at what you're comfortable spending monthly and also what you're going to have liquidity left over afterwards.
So when it comes to buying the first time house, you have that big mortgage, and then they work with someone like myself, and we find the house, and they're all excited. They get an offer accepted, which often these days doesn't happen the first time. And then what I like to say is the mortgage company's going to drive you nuts, kind of like the Jamaican music is driving you nuts. Why is it that it's an iterative process with the mortgage company to actually get to the closing?
So, well, there's a couple of things. So, a good loan officer is going to ask for the documentation up front, so that it's not like a bloodletting through the mortgage process. So, for example, when I do a pre-approval, Gary, I look at, I try to get copies of their W-2s, their pay stubs, their bank statements, and I review those items in addition to looking at their credit. Sometimes when people, give feedback is, well, yes, we got the offer accepted, and then all of a sudden they wanted our third grade report card and everything else included. So a good loan officer will get that documentation up front, so it makes the process go much smoother. It makes everything run without that proverbial hiccup on the end. Aside from that, we still have to get an appraisal on the property and make sure that the property that they purchase is worth what they're paying for it. And we also need to get a title report back, which takes a little bit of time as well, to make sure that the title's cleared so that the buyer doesn't inherit problems from the purchase of this transaction. They don't want the seller's problems to become their problems, so we look at that as well.
Great. Well, I want to thank you, Brad, for coming out and talking to us today about first-time home buying as you look into transitions of life.
My pleasure. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.